Somewhere inside one of football's biggest stadiums, 7 of the greatest players of this generation chased the same dream. Only one of them got to lift football's biggest trophy. The others all left with a different story. Some walked away in tears. One walked away as a legend without the one trophy he always wanted. And one, at 39 years old, reminded the world that greatness doesn't have an expiration date. This isn't a list about who's good. Every player here is world class. This is about separating greatness from legendary status, and legendary status from the rare few who can change the entire game the moment they touch the ball. Stick around, because level 1 isn't just the best player on this list. It might be one of the greatest World Cup performances football has ever seen. Let's start at the bottom, even though bottom here still means one of the greatest footballers on the planet. Level 7, Vinicius Jr. For years, Vinicius Jr. had a problem. At Real Madrid, he was untouchable. For Brazil, something always felt off. Fans back home had a cruel nickname for it. They said whenever Neymar wasn't on the pitch, Vinny tried to become Neymar instead of just being himself. 4 years after a penalty shootout exit in Qatar, the doubts hadn't gone away. Then the 2026 World Cup started, and something flipped. With Neymar sidelined by a calf injury for the first 2 group games, Brazil needed someone else to carry them. Vinicius didn't just accept that job, he ran with it, literally weaving through defenders at a pace that looked unfair. He scored in the opener against Morocco. He scored and assisted against Haiti. Then against Scotland, he scored twice in the first half alone, dragging his tally to 4 goals in 3 games. That put him 1 behind Messi in the race for the Golden Boot, a stat nobody predicted before kickoff. But here's what most fans don't realize. This wasn't just a hot streak. He became only the 5th Brazilian in history to score in all 3 group stage matches of a World Cup, joining names like Jairzinho, Romario, and Ronaldo, players from Brazil's championship teams. And that's only half the story, because just when Vinicius looked unstoppable, Brazil ran into a 6'5" Norwegian problem in the round of 16, and their tournament ended in stunned silence. Off the pitch, Vinicius has become something bigger than a footballer. He's turned racist abuse aimed at him into a global conversation, run a charity back in Rio for underprivileged kids, and became the face of a generation of Brazilian fans who grew up online, memeing his stepovers before they ever learned his surname. He's level 7 because his ceiling, on his best night, might be as high as anyone's, but his World Cup ended 1 round too early, and the next 6 players didn't have that problem. Level 6, Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo told the world this would be his last World Cup before it even started. Nobody wanted to believe him. At 41 years old, most players are coaching youth academies. Ronaldo was still starting for Portugal, still demanding the ball, still convinced somewhere deep down that this was the tournament where the one trophy missing from his shelf would finally show up. It didn't happen, and the way it ended will haunt Portuguese football for years. Round of 16 against Spain, deadlocked at 0-0 deep into stoppage time. Substitute Mikel Merino ghosted in unmarked and buried it. 1 goal, 1 moment, 6 World Cups over on penalty box silent. Ronaldo walked around the pitch afterward, applauding fans, tears barely held back. "I gave it my all," he said. "I leave with a clear conscience." Here's what makes this different from every other exit of his career. This time, everyone understood it was final. But don't let the ending erase what he did across 2 decades on this stage. He became the first men's player ever to score in 6 different World Cup editions. He scored a hat-trick against Spain at 33 years old. He racked up 11 goals across 27 World Cup matches, more appearances than almost any player alive. That's impressive, until you remember he's doing this while every rival on this list is a decade or 2 younger. Ronaldo's social media following remains the largest of any athlete on the planet. His name alone still trends every time he sneezes on a football pitch. He built an entire empire on discipline, obsession, and refusing to accept that time applies to him the way it applies to everyone else. He never won the World Cup. He may be the greatest player in history to say that sentence. And that's exactly why he sits at level 6, a legend whose story on this stage just closed for good, while 5 players below him are still writing theirs. Level 5, Jude Bellingham. 12 months ago, if you'd said an English midfielder would outscore most strikers at this World Cup, you'd have been laughed out of the room. Jude Bellingham did exactly that. 6 goals in 6 games, the most ever scored by a midfielder at a single World Cup, a record that includes players like Maradona and Zidane, who never touched this number. But this is where it gets interesting. Bellingham didn't do it with tap-in. He did it in the moments England needed him most. Against Croatia, he leveled the game. Against Panama, he opened the scoring and then set up the second. Against Mexico, a first-half double that flipped the entire momentum of the match. Then, in the quarterfinal against Norway, he scored twice in the same game, becoming only the second youngest player ever to do that in back-to-back knockout matches, behind a teenage Pelé in 1958. Stadiums started singing "Hey Jude" every time he touched the ball. That's not marketing, that's a nation falling in love in real time. His manager, Thomas Tuchel, publicly challenged him before the tournament even began. Bellingham's answer wasn't words, it was 6 goals and a semi-final run that England hadn't touched since 1966. And then it ended, brutally, the way England's World Cups always seem to. A 2-1 defeat to Argentina, decided by 2 goals in the final 6 minutes, with Bellingham watching Lionel Messi set up both of them. This is where everything changed for the ranking too, because the man who beat Bellingham's England is about to walk onto this list, and he's not walking away with silver. Level 4. Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe arrived at this World Cup with a simple, terrifying question hanging over him. Could anyone actually stop him? For 6 straight matches, the answer was no. 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 goal contributions, the most by any single player in a World Cup since a German legend did it back in 1970. He moved past Pelé on the all-time World Cup scoring list, sitting second all-time behind only one man still left on this list. He holds the record for most game-winning goals in World Cup history, most knockout stage goals ever. He scored 2 or more goals in a single match 7 separate times across his career at this tournament, a feat matched by nobody in 6 decades. But here's what most fans don't realize. None of that mattered in the one match where France needed him most. In the semi-final against Spain, Mbappe touched the ball 15 times in the entire first half, 0 shots. He finished the match without a single shot on target as Spain's midfield trio swallowed France whole, 3-on-2, over and over again. "We didn't do what you're supposed to do in a World Cup semi-final," Mbappe admitted afterward, visibly shaken. "You don't win." France lost 2-0. For the first time in 3 straight World Cups, Mbappe won't play in the final. He's still tied for the Golden Boot lead. He's still, statistically, one of the greatest tournament performers this sport has ever produced. But greatness that goes quiet in the biggest moment can't sit above the players who showed up when it mattered most. And that's exactly why 4 names still rank ahead of him. Level 3. Erling Haaland. A year before this World Cup, Erling Haaland gave Norway's chances of winning it a 0.5% shot. Even he didn't believe in the fairy tale that was about to happen. Norway hadn't reached a World Cup knockout round in decades. Then Haaland started scoring, and an entire country lost its mind. 7 goals in 5 matches, tied at one point for the Golden Boot lead alongside Messi and Mbappe. And he did it in the strangest way possible, averaging a goal every 14 touches, the most efficient scoring rate by any multi-goal player in 60 years of World Cup football. But here's the moment that made him a global phenomenon rather than just a great striker. Round of 16 against 5-time champions Brazil. Haaland rose above the Brazilian back line, all 6'5" of him, and scored twice in the second half to send the Seleção packing. It was Brazil's earliest World Cup elimination since 1990. That's impressive until you see what happened next. Norwegian fans who traveled to America by the tens of thousands turned every stadium into what they started calling the Viking Row. And Haaland, usually stone-faced and businesslike, was suddenly seen smiling, laughing, hugging strangers in the stands. His run ended in the quarterfinal against England when Jude Bellingham, his actual friend and former Dortmund teammate, scored twice to send Norway home 2-1. Haaland finished the game on the bench, eyes closed. He left the United States with 7 World Cup goals, a viral reputation as the tournament's most likable superstar, and, somehow, a taxidermy raccoon he bought as a souvenir that sparked a genuine sales spike back home. Haaland proved a team can go from nobody's dark horse to the world's favorite underdog story in 4 weeks. That's why he's level 3, closer to the trophy than anyone expected, further than he deserved to be denied. Level 2. Lamine Yamal, 19 years old, wearing the number 10 shirt that Lionel Messi wore for Barcelona. And on Sunday, he'll walk onto the pitch to play against the man who once literally bathed him as a baby. That photo is real. It went viral years ago. A young Messi holding an infant Yamal at a Barcelona family event. Nobody could have guessed it would foreshadow a World Cup final matchup. Yamal's tournament almost didn't happen. A hamstring tear back in April kept him out of Spain's opening match, watching from the bench as his team drew Cape Verde scoreless. Fans online questioned whether he'd even be fit enough to matter. Then Spain played Saudi Arabia, and 10 minutes in, Yamal scored a his first World Cup goal. Spain hasn't looked back since. In the semi-final against France, Yamal didn't even need to score to be the story. His clever movement drew a foul for a penalty. Minutes later, his positioning occupied a French defender long enough for Spain's second goal to arrive completely untouched. Spain won 2-0, and Yamal walked off with the most assists of any player left in the tournament. Here's what makes him different from everyone above him on this list. He's not chasing a legacy yet. He's building the opening chapter of one in real time on the sport's biggest stage at an age when most of these players were still on academy benches. He's a practicing Muslim who prostrates after every goal. He's an outspoken supporter of Palestinian causes despite enormous public pressure to stay silent. He finished runner-up for the 2025 Ballon d'Or before he'd even turned 19. Yamal sits at level 2 because Sunday's final isn't really about whether he's ready for this stage. He's already there. The only question left is whether the greatest player alive can stop him. Level 1, Lionel Messi. He's 39 years old. He already won the World Cup once. By every reasonable measure, Lionel Messi had nothing left to prove. And yet here he is, 3 days from a second final, somehow still the best story in the entire tournament. 8 goals this summer, tied for the Golden Boot lead. 21 goals across his World Cup career, the most anyone has ever scored in the tournament's history. 10 assists, also the most ever recorded. 33 goal contributions across 33 career World Cup matches. No other player in the sport's history is within single digits of that number. But here's what most fans don't realize about this specific World Cup. Messi hasn't just been scoring, he's been rescuing. Down 2-0 against Egypt in the round of 16, deep in the second half, Messi set up 1 goal, then scored the equalizer himself 4 minutes later. Argentina survived. Against Switzerland, extra time again, Messi didn't score, but he still created more chances than anyone else on the pitch. Then came the semi-final against England. Locked at 1-1 deep into stoppage time, Messi found Enzo Fernandez for the equalizer, then delivered the cross that let Lautaro Martinez head home the winner in the second minute of stoppage time. 2 assists, neither goal his own name on the score sheet. Both goals entirely his doing. At 39 years and 21 days old, Messi became the oldest outfield player to ever start a World Cup semifinal, trailing only 2 goalkeepers in the tournament's entire history. If Argentina wins Sunday, he becomes just the second player in 70 years to lift back-to-back World Cups. If he simply plays in the final, he joins Cafu as the only man to appear in 3 of them. This is where everything changes. Every player on this list has scored, dazzled, broken records. Only one of them, at an age when most legends are watching from a studio couch, is still capable of deciding a World Cup final with his very last tournament. That's why, heading into Sunday, Lionel Messi is still level 1. This isn't an official ranking. It's simply my personal opinion based on impact, legacy, current form, and everything we've seen up to the 2026 World Cup. Now I want to hear yours. Who would be your level 1? Drop your top 7 in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this one, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one.